Hello, everybody. Welcome to ICC's Banter Blitz. I'm Grandmaster Joel Benjamin. I'll be taking on all comers in Blitz chess, and I see already there's quite a big lineup. I'm really touched to see everybody wanting to come out and play me. Just to let you know, I'm wearing my Rangers jersey today because tonight it's a big night, Game 7, the Rangers Capital Series. We get this one out of the way, and then it'll be smooth sailing to the Stanley Cup. So, big hockey fan. I'm all excited about that. But right now it's chess, and here we go. Okay, random 3-1-4-1-5. Okay, we've got a modern defense. Probably wants me to show him what to do. Okay, A6. Yes, I've been known to do this kind of thing myself. I actually played against this in a Blitz tournament recently, and I got a kind of a bad game with white, so I have to do a better job here. I remember knight came to G4 on me, and in untimely fashion, so prevented that. Okay. So C5 is C3. E5, you usually just want to take on E5. Okay, 5, all right, on the castle. Everything protected so far. So far, not so horrible. Standard type of position from a Pirtz or modern defense. It's a Pirtz or perk, as a lot of people call it, if black starts with d6, knight f6. If black delays the development of the knight, then it's a modern. That's the difference in the nomenclature. H5. This looks very Zlotnikov-y. Zlotnikov did this against me in the New Jersey Open, this H5. He did it after Queen D2 to stop me from playing Bishop H6. But one problem is it does weaken G6, so I'm going to go right after that with E5, E6, and that certainly gets me some pretty good play there. Black is to be very careful now. G6 is either dropping or going to be really under attack. Knight coming to G5 probably. Yeah, you got to really watch it touching the H pawn if E5, E6. That's why black probably would have been advised to play Queen C7 to observe the E5 square. Big useful move anyway, just to make it not quite so easy to get an E5. So I think it's kind of a difficult position for black, and so random needs a not random move. Okay, I was not expecting that. Let me take that with check, and let me come in. I think this is a disaster. Hard to defend E6. Oh, he's not going to defend it. Well, yeah, otherwise knight F7. Fair enough. Okay. Let me grab that then. King G8. Okay, how bad can this be? That attacks the bishop. Just have to watch out for the queen sneaking to C6 and trying to mate me on G2. Keep an eye out for that one. But otherwise, looks kind of ragged for black here. Okay. Bishop H6. Yeah, I want Queen G4, but Knight F6 doesn't look so simple. So let's see. Takes. I'm actually just, what do I want to do here? I don't want to take too much time on this move, but I'm actually just gonna back this bishop up here. Open up the G file. Also, maybe I can do some discovered threats with the knight on E6. sometimes when you win some stuff, it's not a bad idea just to make sure your pieces coordinate. You don't lose one, just as a practical matter, whether it's the best move or not, just to uh, to make it easier to play. So I'm getting ready to slip in Queen G4. I mean, he can play knight takes E3. Okay, that's just a pawn. I don't think that should bother me too much. Give me the F file too. Yeah, so I think that last move was maybe worth a little think there, just to not charge in and lose any tempi and give him a chance for a comeback. Now, Queen G4 is looks like it's getting ready to come. It's quite a bit of power. Hard to find a good defense. So I'm feeling confident about this one. Knight F6. Okay, well that stops knight to G4. So okay, let me start by taking that. Okay, so if the knight takes, okay, chase back the knight. I kind of like that. Now, oh, but my bishop is not defended, and my queen doesn't have any squares. Okay, so let me just trade. And I don't know what to do. All right, let me just go here. Just put something on open file. Yeah, okay. I knew that was coming. Let me just defend that. Defend that mate. King H8. Okay, so he's actually trying to create some counter threats. So now let me get a little forky action going. Okay. Queen E8. All right, let me develop something with sort of a tempo. Checky weckies. This wins some more material. Yes. And I take this. And now I'm going to be simple here just to trade some stuff and win more material. Hi, thanks, random 31415 Tango Niner Bravo. Yeah, that E5, E6, you got to be careful about that H pawn if you don't have that under control. That's a good lesson learned. All right, so far so good. Who's next? Fork and pin. Okay. I'm going to try out Caro-Kann. Last time I played kind of exclusively Sicilian, so let me be a little different. E5 and so we get a closed center position. Bishop E3. Okay. I'll just develop my bishop for now. Yeah. Okay. Got to come in. All right. He's keeping his knight back on G1 because he didn't want any bishop G4 clearly. Yeah. I was just thinking how I allowed E6, but it was a position where my pawn is on H7, so in that case, E6 you can often survive that because G6 is not weakened. All right, should I go knight F8 to be all blockading and cool, or yeah, I could go knight B6 also, but yeah, I'll just do it this way. G4, King B1. Well, okay. Well, I think that's a good pawn to take. It kind of kills a lot of attack. I don't think Fork and Pin wanted me to get that. In any case, it's mine. Well, that's a rook, isn't it? I don't. Oh, okay. I lost control of some squares. No. That was only an exchange. I would keep going. Fork and Pin. You never know when you get another chance, because sometimes I make mistakes. But anyway, thanks for the challenge. Let's see who will be next. So far, so good. One win for each color. Last month, I won all the games, It does seem that in one of the games I could have been mated at one, and when my opponent resigned, so that can go down in the folklore as one of the worst moves, resigning instead of delivering a mate in one. But this time I'll be a little bit more careful about, whether there's, a mate in one on the board before when I'm in the midst of the technical process. Okay, Queen D6. This is a sideline of the Scandinavian that's gotten a lot of play over the last few years. See, do you want to play each? Thinking this one over in my head. I'll just castle. Okay, and do this. See, it's useful for white to trade the knight so that the pawn on c3 can move forward. That can be very useful. I'm taking a bit of time, though, I have to say. That's not necessarily useful. I can't put my queen out where I want to go. All right, I'll just guard my d4 pawn. Usually people try to castle queenside for black, so this is putting me off slightly. What do I need to do here? All right. Try something slightly experimental. So you can play f5 here and double my pawns, but it's probably not that big a deal to double the pawns, especially if black weakens with f5. So I kind of like to see black touch those pawns, g6 or h6 or something like that. I like to create some kind of weakness. I think will help. So give him a little something to think about. Meanwhile, he got a little edge on the clock there. I should say my opponent Borknagar. Okay, h6. The problem with that, though, is that now I'm going to attack the bishop. So the bishop doesn't have this comfortable retreat to g6. So I snagged the bishop pair, and I solved any kind of problems with the pin. So that the last few moves worked out well for me. Happy with that. And now what to do? Maybe, I always love to go after the king, but I might actually attack the queen side using the bishop pair. That's a notion that kind of appeals to me a little bit, although I have to be careful about how I'm going to exercise that possible queenside pawn storm. Throw the B pawn, A pawn up. Try to utilize the bishop on f3 by, maybe b5, b4, b5, get some pressure going with that bishop. Got two bishops, you want to try to activate them in some way. All right, meanwhile, he's been taking a lot of time the last couple of moves, and that improved my clock situation a lot, which I kind of like. I don't know if I need this, but I'm kind of thinking that maybe I want to think about improving my bishop, giving my bishop on c1 something to do. So that's the main idea of the g3, really, which I think was missed by my opponent. Is the main idea was bishop f4. That's a sneaky trap because it looks like I just want to play bishop g2. Like stronger players might think bishop g2, because that's kind of a normal maneuver. And actually lower-rated players might be quicker to pick up my idea of e5. All right, so this is going to cost him a pawn. I'm going to take with the pawn. I could take with the bishop and keep the pawns simpler, but I think this is giving me a nice initiative. Pawn takes, and I've won a pawn, and I'm going to get some attack going. So looking good. Queen e6, I think that's walking into more trouble. Yeah, sometimes when something goes wrong, it's not so easy to keep your cool and, and make best moves to try to get out of it. I think he needed to play queen c5, which was the relatively best, but still obviously bad pawn and bad position. I think this is going to cost substantial material like piece. So I'm feeling confident. Yeah, so if I hit this queen, if I hit this queen, I don't see what he can do about that. I was just thinking like this is one of those things where I didn't look at my king side, but there's no black pawn on h3, so there's no mate down there on g2. So. Okay, Borknagar, thanks. The bishop f4 trick really did him in. That was otherwise I had a nice edge, but that was decisive. So sneaky trap on my part with the g3. I like it. Feeling in form. As I do this month to month, I get more practice because I never play blitz anymore. With a very, very occasional tournament, major blitz tournament if there's one around. But since the old Manhattan Chess Club closed down, I just haven't played any kind of blitz on a regular basis. Okay, I got the first check-in on Mr. Dodgy. Looks to be British. All right. So I'm playing a slightly tricky Bogo Indian line that I used to like to play years ago. It's not objectively that great, but it's kind of interesting. E3. I'm vaguely remembering something about that move, but it's a little dim at this point. Yes, it was E4. Yeah, something about that. C6, is it? Yeah, I remember there's some line white is getting ready to play bishop c1. There's some kind of thing that I think I can do where I leave my bishop out there, and I think I can be okay, but I don't c6. Ah, yes, I remember it now. Okay, I think the move I like is c6 here, but I was tempted to just take the bishop on d2 and not bother thinking about it, but it was kind of a matter of principle that I should try to remember this line. I mean, I don't know that it's that great for black, but there's a possible pawn sacrifice if white plays bishop c1 here. Rook e1. Oh, that move doesn't bother me at all because now bishop c1 is not possible. So I'm not really sure why rook e1, but okay, now I think I got a position I like. I got the pawn to e4. And, okay, knight g5, I have to go d5. Possibly I rushed e4 slightly. I could have played rook e8, but I think it's good enough position for black. Just kick the knight. I'm not sure if I should kick it or not, but all right. Let's take. And how's he taken back? Bishop, queen, knight. Hard to predict. I think I'm pretty happy whatever happens. Knight, queen, okay. Knight, do I like knight b6 or, yeah, I'm going to go knight b6. Force white to do something in the center there. Well, white position does look kind of reasonable, so maybe with that rook on e1, I should have, maybe I shouldn't play e4 because I don't really know what white's plan is with rook e1 and e3. It's the main idea of e3 is to try to force black to take on d2 without losing any time for white. Okay, queen f4. So this knight has to come. I'm going to come around this way, I think. Okay, so anyway, Dodgy is playing a pretty good game here, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of equal. Uh-huh. Okay, knight d3 is good, good, good. And let me try this. So let him double my pawns, but open the F file, which feels good against his queen. Yeah, feels good against his queen. He has to be a little careful about that. Queen e5. Okay, queen d7. Maybe the other rook can come over and harass his queen. Knight g4, maybe in some cases, could be a good move. If he plays e4, he can play e4, but then his d4 pawn will be certainly vulnerable. It's a calculation as to whether that is worth it for white to do. But right now, there's a lot in the structure that's favorable for me because that pawn on e3 can be potential weakness. And I'm gaining some edge on the clock. Yeah, so there he goes with e4. I can take it, but actually the pawn isn't going anywhere. So I think what I'm going to do, since he can't really get out of the way, I'm just going to play rook a d8 and just get ready to attack that pawn on d5. Okay. Knight e4. This move looks very suspicious to me. There are various things that are hanging. There's also knight g4, and that's close to costing him his queen. Okay, I don't know if I want to be too fancy here, so I think I will not be too fancy. And knight g4, I think this is okay. Queen doesn't have a lot of squares. Queen d6, and then I could try to move the queen and get a little extra out of it. Or just take. I think I'm just going to take it. Don't know if that was queen f7 forces queen f4. Maybe it was strong, but I didn't really want to have to figure that out. Okay, let me just do that. And let me do that so that pawn doesn't drop. And then maybe just bring my knight back to f6. Look to consolidate. I think I'm in good shape here. Oh, I could have played knight e3, yeah. All right. Not a big deal. Okay. Okay. King e5. Yeah, probably didn't really do so great with the last few moves. Check. Let me see if that causes any problems for him. Let's see. Let's probe a little bit there. Don't know if that's a good move or not. Okay. Let's take that and go there. I've got this setting where it starts to do this flashing red when I'm under 20 seconds, and it's really actually very irritating. It's not at all helpful. It's very, very distracting, actually. But I think that I'm going to manage. Okay, I snagged a piece. It's all good. Okay, dodgy. All right, thanks for the game. Kept it going there. Yeah, it was sort of a real game, but I had to be vigilant, and I think I managed to do it okay. I don't think I messed up anywhere. Just take a pawn and not mess up too much. Okay, so we've got chesser-sizing. Okay, chesser-sizing. It's a healthy thing to do. Queen's Gambit accepted. Been a long time since I had one of these. Of course, I generally prefer to play e4 to d4, so I get a lot more of that. But looks like we're leading into an isolated queen pawn positions, and I know a little bit about that. I play that from many different openings. I don't think the bishop on d6 is properly placed when playing against the isolated pawn. There's a lot of variations where you do it when you don't take on d4, but I think it's really better to put on e7, and I don't think bishop d6 and queen c7 go together with taking on d4. So I like the way this is shaping up. Isolated queen pawn positions can come out of so many different openings. Um, Wait, do I have bishop e6 or something like that? You know what? I think I got to do it just because, this just for a little fun. I'm not sure, you know. Yeah, it probably works okay. Anyway, isolated queen pawn positions come out of so many openings. I noticed with a lot of my students that they often shy away from them. They don't learn them. When I was say 12 years old, my teachers kind of gave me um, a teacher. I say teachers one at a time. I never had more than one at a time, but they would always work me out on isolated queen pawn positions because they're so important. But I have a feeling that players don't study them like I did, and I feel that that's one of the things that helps me the most is that I have a lot of experience in them. Okay, so that's a little bit of a safe way out. Bishop h2. Otherwise, I get e6 in. So okay, I think I should take that. So he avoids maybe the worst of it, but on the other hand, I'm not down a piece anymore. So I think it's going to be a big attack anyway without having given up anything. I think I will chesser-size my right to attack. Boom. It's the dream of any isolated queen pawn position to get in the move d5. And it looks kind of powerful here. I don't think black is even going to get the castle. But I don't really see what he could have done about that. Anyway, to defend e6, I would play d5. I mean, maybe the best move was the castle, but I take on e6, maybe even with the queen, and black is pretty much lost. So there were really too many maneuvers in this game when he needed to just play bishop e7 and castles. Okay, but it's not over. It's not over till it's over. Okay, let's d takes e6. This can't be a bad start. Seems likely that some kind of mate is going to happen here. Let's try. Pile up, knight c6. It feels like I should mate with something. It feels like there's some kind of thing on d8 or rook d7. It's quite tempting. Kind of fancy. Should I get fancy? Should I play for the fans? Or rook d7 is looks like it's probably going to be a mate. Queen e5, rook takes C6. Yeah, okay. I mean, if I'm just purely playing to win the game, I would play Queen H5 check, I think, because that's the simplest. Queen H5 followed by Knight G6 doesn't require any calculation at all. But this looks like the fun way to go about it. Um, this, if he takes it, I think this potential mate on the E6 square, various other problems if his king doesn't take the pawn. But it's not easy to find a good queen move either. Oh, actually, if Queen E5, I just take the queen. That's a simple. I was thinking Rook takes C6, but just taking the queen even better. All right, King F7, but um, Queen E6, I think, and now next move, should I take the knight? I think just Bishop E7 is, yeah, the simplest, and then I take his queen. Yummy. That's gonna tickle. It's gonna tickle just a bit. Okay, thank you, Chesser sizing. You got to get the king out of the center. That's the truth. I was all set to just make a nice, developing move Rook C1, and I said, hold on a second. Bishop B6. Maybe a D5 in that position too, come to think of it. But Bishop B6 is cooler. Budapest. Well, I I don't get to think about this opening very often, so I have to say Budapest is a little bit B6. Oh, there must be some kind of Queen D5, Knight C5 trick, some kind of nonsense like that. I suppose that's what that is about. Okay. you know, what I'm supposed to think that he doesn't see that I could play Queen D5. I guess it's to trap the queen, but it doesn't look too impressive. I have to say, A5. Well, the main benefit of this kind of opening is to just confuse me a little bit because it doesn't really look very impressive at all, and under any level of analysis. I don't know if this is a good move, but Queen D4. Maybe my queen will come over, pawn up, and not really anything wrong about the position. And so I was kind of thinking something like this. Attack the queenie. And is E6 playable next? Or good? E6. I'm mulling over this one. If he takes on G5 and I take on G7, threaten mate. He could just castle though. That's too bad. E6. He just castles. Boo. I have to play something more prosaic. All right, let's just. I'll just swing my queen over. Maybe we'll get some trades. Okay by me. I'm still up that pawn. So this 94 is the Fajarowicz. Or maybe that's not the right Polish pronunciation, but I do remember back when I wrote unorthodox openings in the 80s that we looked at this move. Of course, writing back then, no computers at all. And I know that I concluded that A3 was, well, on the level of a refutation, although I tended to think that things were easier to refute than I believe today, but it's something approaching a refutation. But you still have to win the game regardless. And yeah, probably haven't gotten quite as much as maybe I could have moved 7 or 8. Still not too bad. Okay. I think castling is useful because I might be able to tie down his knight to b8. Yeah, and I think I can do f4. I wouldn't want to do this with queens on the board, but I think that I can just play to hold on to the pawn. Yep, still got the pawn. Uh, I mean, I've got some weaknesses on the e file, but I can't see how that's really compensating. Although possibly I could have also retreated knight f3. Would have been pretty good for me too. All right, how to get this all developed? All right, so actually he's got a plan of knight a6, and well, that's gonna not bad. So I think I'm gonna play this a little unconventionally, uh, and just develop my rook like this, get that in the game, and then go here. But yeah, this is not entirely ideal for stamping out counterplay. But that rook actually might be good there. Although one of these days I will have to develop my bishop. Okay, he's looking for a fork. I understand. Okay. Do your worst. I have a way out. Yeah, I get it. You want knight f2. Okay, that's cool. All right, I've got my bishop into the game, and I'm not losing the exchange. So it all looks good. All right, start trading some stuff. He took that. Okay, I'll take that. Just everybody take something. And gonna come out ahead, I know that. All right. So now it's just technical chess. Okay, all right, let's get the pawns rolling actually. B5. Okay. Um, what should I do about that? All right, I'll take it. Ooh, now my pawns are really going to roll. But I guess his pawns are rolling a little bit too. But I've got a lot more rollers. I'm rocking and rolling. I think that big majority is going to get them. Okay. All right, let's stop that with the king. Um, oops. I grabbed my A pawn by accident when I was looking for the. Okay, let's push again. Can't really do anything offensively to me, so he's just kind of waiting, actually. Yeah, because now I just keep him away. Okay, check. And let's push. I'm actually going to hold on to that A pawn, I think. Now I'm just good. Now I'm just going to win with the A pawn. Just going to queen it. No, I think I'm going to queen it sooner than later now. Preparer. All right, preparer. Prepare to lose the ending. Thanks for the game. I grabbed my pawn in the opening and grabbed some more and consolidated. That's feels good. Thank you for the game, preparer. All right. Brownie Baker, give it to me. Knight f3. Okay, non-committal. Okay. King's in the attack. Okay, let me just make some quick moves here. Can almost pre-move this. I like this system for black. This is very easy to play. I used to play d6 on move 1 against knight f3, and I could get this position even a tempo down. I was sort of happy with it. All right, now do I want knight e4? Yeah, let's spice it up. Possibly Dutchify it, depending on what he does. Queen c2, yeah, okay. So now I'll go for a stone wall with the bishop outside of the chain. That's a good strategy. Because in the Stonewall Dutch, typically your bishop is sitting here on c8, and you have to work to get that in the game. So I'm happy enough with this. Now I sort of wish my bishop is on d6, but can't have everything. I think he would have been better off maybe taking a move earlier. Maybe not. Okay. What is this pawn structure going to be like? Brownie Baker. Okay. Something tells me to get on this diagonal and just try to hit him on f2 if I can. The threat is stronger than the execution. All right, now I've got some weaknesses, light square weaknesses. I likey, and maybe just double my rooks. Take. I'm wondering if it even made sense to take with the c pawn and keep a big blob in the center, because I have to be a little careful about the e5 pawn now. But I do have a great queenside majority if it comes down to that. Whereas that pawn in e5 looks good, but it's kind of out there by itself. Okay, what am I missing? What am I missing here? Can I not take it? I thought maybe he'd kick the bishop h3, and if my bishop went somewhere, then take it. Okay. I think I'll just move away. Yeah, I've got an extra pawn. Nice position. Can go back. Oh, well, that's courteous on the part of Brownie Baker, because, there's still a lot of play left, and sometimes I do make mistakes in these positions. I don't want people to give up too soon. Okay, if you lose a piece, yeah, okay, if you lose a pawn, I would not resign. Okay, so this is Deep Fort. And I think that's, I don't know if is that the Indian flag? I'm not sure, but it seems like I'm seeing that flag a lot today, so I don't know what time it is. Okay, let's see. What to do against the Grunfeld, because when you don't play d4, you have to kind of think about it. c6. Okay, so now this is a Schlechter Slav. It's kind of a like a Queen's Gambit now. Castles. e6. I didn't even have to play h3. He just did that voluntarily. Okay. Well, that's not a great bishop on c8. So I don't know. Maybe there's a bit of a strategy to move very, very quickly in the opening, but just kind of try to hang on. Well, we'll see. Sometimes that can work. All right, let me outpost. Because if I play bishop d3, then I'd be slightly embarrassed to move it a second time. So I'll go for the old Pillsbury knight e5 f4. Okay, that's bold. He's just going to try to counterattack in the center. Okay, um, I'll just keep the tension for the moment. Tension. I'm very tense. And I don't think I'm really necessarily threatening to do anything. But I'm wondering whether knight b5 is an idea to chase the queen. He takes that one. Okay. What'd you take? He took that. Takes. Okay. All right, I take back. Pawn. Yeah, I mean, it looks reasonable for black. Get the rooks in the game. Let's see, I got c4 guarded because if he takes my knight, I take back hit his knight. Yeah, maybe he should have avoided that exchange because now I think this could be problems, knight b5. Whereas without the trade, I didn't think it was a big deal. But now c6 is open, and I'm going to take something. And another very courteous resignation. Was I winning more than the exchange there? I don't think so. But thank you, Deep Fort. There's a lot of polite opponents today, a lot of early resignations. I guess that's more time for everyone else to get in. Okay, gone sailing. Okay. So anyway, I'm trying out the d4, which, last time I played e4 every game, and I won every game, and so I'm trying to be sporty and sort of like play with my right hand, because I'm left-handed. Um, Not that I don't know how to play d4, and well, this is really more an e4 opening now anyway. I had this position against Alejandro Ramirez in the U.S. Championship a few years ago, and I actually eventually received a tremendous position, and then I just started misplaying it short of time, and I lost. That was a killer game because if I won that game, I think I would have had a really good chance for first place, but was not to be. But I still like this position for white. Knight g4. Okay, I see he wants to go to e5, which is not that great a maneuver, but all right. My bishop is not going to stay on b5, so very often it's nice to tuck it on f1. And that's kind of the thing about bishops is that bishops are perfectly happy being on the back rank as long as they're not blocking other pieces. So you see the good players always do things like rook e1 and bishop f1 or rook e8 and bishop f8 because the bishop can be good there and not get anybody's way. f5, this is a bold move, creating weaknesses on the e-file. But then again, there's some counterplay involved, so I'm not going to snicker at it. It could work out, especially if that pawn gets to f4. So, all right, so I'm going to kick it away. But no, that was a decent idea, gone sailing, this knight maneuver in f5. All right, this is getting a little fancy. Is this really necessary? What if I put a pawn on e6? Am I just going to totally stuff? What should I mean? I want to move the bishop anyway. Should I just move the bishop? All right, let me see what happens if I stuff his bishop. I'm just curious about this. The pawn on e6. Maybe it doesn't do anything, but you never know. Okay, knight has to go somewhere. It could have come around to e2. I wasn't totally sure about that. b6, okay, bishop coming. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those unclear positions that's kind of, you know, kind of have to think a little bit. All right, let me just do that. Bolster my knight. And gone sailing is played extremely quickly in this game too, I have to say. All right. He's got his bishop. I don't know if this position is really that good for me or not. It's kind of hard to say because it's very unusual. But if I ever get that pawn on e7, then I'll know the answer. I'm not sure that I'll manage that. That would be a nice thing to achieve. I mind trading off his dark squared bishop. I'd feel pretty good about that, I'd have to say. Not going to let that happen so easily. Gone sailing is giving me a run for the money here, I have to say. It's a very strange position. All right, g5. Let me see if I can break down that wall. But it's a little chancy for me because I've got some issues with my king as well. Yeah, this is really an unclear position. I think that I'm not too unhappy about that, but then I started thinking, which I can't really do because I don't have any time. So, all right. I think let's see about just bringing my rook over. I started thinking about, generalizing about what's going on here, and then I forgot that I just got to move because I don't have a lot of time. So if I can get all my rooks to the H file, I'll feel good about this. So I think that's what my next few moves are going to be that. Okay. I don't think that bothers me. That E4 is defended. Okay. And this one. And now the other one's coming over. Here comes the other one. That should do something. That should do something substantial. Threatening to take on H6. Yeah, I think that breaks down the defense. Whew. I think I got it now, but I wasn't too sure about it, about my position. It was just very weird. Just a very unusual position. I wanted to see what happened with that pawn on e6. Thanks, Gonzalo, and that was a difficult game. It was not easy, but fortunately, sometimes you have a complicated position and you find a relatively good game to you too. You find a relatively simple plan, and the plan manages to work. Yeah, I thought that he should have gotten Queen E8 and Queen G6 in, and that I thought I was not so sure about that. The old exchange variation. Okay, so this is Nikan Witiarto, who I've played before. I still not really sure the meaning of that name, but in any event, here we go. Knight F3, I think not the most challenging move. There's some tactics now. I could take on f3 and take on d4, but d5 is hanging. So I think it's actually better just to retreat. It's sort of tempting to go for that pawn, but probably not correct. The problem for white is that if you don't get the bishop out to f4, then the development doesn't come out nearly as smoothly as you want it to be, and then you have trouble moving it forward, breaking the pin easily. And the structure is very similar to a Queen's Gambit accepted. Black is playing the white version of the Queen's Gambit accepted, but there white often, the bishop is and the equivalent of e2, the black bishop would be on e7, and then white would just break the pin. But sometimes the pin can be slightly annoying here. Like how do you actually take care of that? Especially the knight doesn't have the g3 square, and the moves I'm making are all pretty much fitting in with the exchange variation moves in the Queen's Gambit declined. Queen b3. Okay, fine. No, I'm going to take the knight now. And I suppose he's maybe thinking about queenside castling, but that's a huge target. There's a lot of things to attack over there. Okay, and if he wants to castle kingside, I'm okay with that as well. There's a lot of weaknesses there. Rook b8 is a move that covers all the bases because if he castles queenside, I can throw b5 and attack, and if he's going to castle kingside, still b5 is with the minority attack is logical. Okay, g6. So maybe bishop h6 was a little bit of a threat. It's just generally a good idea to have that pawn really reinforced by two pawns on g6. Okay. So he's thinking a little bit about sacrifice, but it's not there now. Play bishop. Maybe I'll play bishop f4. Oh, then he might sacrifice. No, it still won't be good. Just waiting to throw that pawn up to b5. Maybe knight h5 to dominate that f4 square. Could have also done that last move, possibly. Now, a little bit of a dilemma, do you go and castle into it, so to speak? Maybe you might as well, because I don't think that you can play very long with, without doing something about the king. Okay. Really? Bishop g6. Okay. Okay. I don't think there's going to be any kind of mate here. I would be surprised. Just going to put my king in the corner, and I think everything's covered. Yeah, looks everything covered to me, and I think I'll just consolidate with some extra guys. Also, I don't have to take, if he sacks with the rook, I don't have to take it, but I don't see why not take it. Looks free. Okay, I mean, I will take it because it seems hardly, not very sporty to not take it. Rook g1. Okay, now. All right, let's trade that off. I mean, it seems that my queen is going to come over and stop any kind of nonsense. Like maybe now. Push him back, way back. Um, Tempted to have a little fun with something like knight b4, but just seems inappropriate. Let's just consolidate everything. Uh, I could take that, but all right, let's just attack his queen. And let's take stuff. Make sure that there's no mate. I've had my king covered by everything I have pretty much. Okay, thank you. Now can we diorto? I'm sure I'm mangling that. Attack wasn't quite there. So in that exchange variation, yeah, if you can't get the bishop to f4, then at least maybe don't allow the pin with bishop g4. You can get one of those. Okay, big Ali. I've known a lot of owls, and for some reason, owls are always big. Why are there so many big owls? I don't really know. But this is Big Ali. Uh-huh. Okay. This is not really my favorite. Oh, he played Bishop e7. He didn't go Knight d7. All right. Slightly unusual. I wasn't paying attention, I have to admit. Getting a little tired as we move into the second hour of Blitz. But yeah, usually black plays in the Moran, not early knight bd7. So certainly he's kind of down a tempo, although my bishop has moved twice. So he's turning into a kind of queen's gambit. All right, well, let's see how that works. I don't really like my queen on c2 so much in this position. Now, let me just play with pieces, just do something different. Mm-hmm. See how this works. Just positional. Mm-hmm. B5. I have an idea here. I'm expecting bishop b7. I think I have something a little bit cool. And all right, here goes. Knight d5. Tagging the queen a couple of times. He takes my queen, I take on e7. That's no good. So I think his move is kind of forced. Yeah, it's a little something to think about. Yeah, that's forced. And now I just want to take the queen and take on b7. What's he thinking about? Does he not see he can take my queen? What's he thinking about? Big Ali, take my queen. No, he didn't see he could take my queen. No, Big Ali. No, take my queen. You weren't losing anything. Just positional. Oh, everybody's in a hurry to resign today. What's going on? I don't mind checkmating people. It's okay. That was a little too early. I feel sad. The game was going to be fun. Okay. Tired Dad. Yes, I think I've played Tired Dad before, and I can definitely relate because I, too, am a tired dad. I've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old, and lately, they have lots of activities, and I just never have any time to rest. Okay, try to stay awake. All right, it's been a long time since I had a King's Indian, so I'm just sort of, playing a solid line. I hope everyone appreciates that I am being slightly sporty in playing d4 because in a lot of these games because e4. It's not that I can't play d4, but my routine is so much greater in e4 because I play it a lot more in tournaments, so I can play a lot quicker. I don't have to think about how I want to play the opening, so it's a little bit more of a challenge to win with d4. That being said, I'm a grandmaster. I'm not being all that sporty. You're still underdogs in a big way. Queen to b6. I think I'm okay with that because now, how is the bishop on c8 coming out? Because there's something blocking b7 and the knight on d7. I think it's something not quite right here. Yeah, well, he has an idea he can try to go after a pawn. Well, I kind of think bishop d2 is the best move. Same time, I think I'm going to go here. Or bishop b3, knight g4. I could do that too. He's not really going to take my pawn, but yeah. Okay. Something in the middle. Okay, that one. King h7. Is the king really well placed there because it's walking onto this diagonal opposite my queen? You know that helps. I think I'd rather the king on g8 actually. Okay. Nice. All right. He wants to play b6, I guess. All right. Well, let me make a kind of generic Luft move. See where he's going with this. Well, I thought the idea was to play b6. Okay, decided to do that one first. Okay, that's cool. All right, I'll just go a4. Yeah. Well, let's try this kind of business. Put my knight on d4, and that should accomplish something. I think I could keep everything clamped, at least for the short term. This might be another bishop f1 game. Sometimes you can win these positions just by giving your opponent nothing to do for a while, and that becomes kind of uncomfortable. But well, it's not that simple, of course, but sometimes it's a bit like that. Okay. Okay, there's my bishop f1. I'm hoping to tire him out because he is tired dad. Okay, something came at me. It's kind of hard for him to move any other pieces forward. Now, I still don't really have so much of a plan as to what I'm going to try to do to him, but meanwhile, he's got about 25 seconds, thus proving the threat is stronger than the execution. Queen d7. Okay, let me just I don't know, king h1, just to put my king in the corner. I think his knight is trapped, isn't it? It wouldn't have been very sporty to win like that, right? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Let's go ahead and do something. That's why I said don't put the king on h7. Now, I'm not sure it's that strong, but it looks impressive, doesn't it? Um, it's taking my time. Oh, okay. I think he might as well have left it there because he didn't take it last move, but still the same business. Okay, now some yummy light squares. Let me get on them. Okay. It's gonna almost hung my knight. I don't want to hang my knight though. Okay. Let's start in with the knight. Ah, e5. Okay. Well, that's kind of exchanging one positional disadvantage for another. I can take and take on g5, rook e1, queen h7, king f8. Oh, I'm just getting tired. I'm just going to go here. He's got 7 seconds. I don't feel like calculating stuff. Just going to put automatic pilot. Um, mhm. Check. Mm, just take a pawn. Hmm. Okay, now I'm running a little low on time, so I have to be a little careful here. Okay. All right, here we go. Run, little doggies. Thanks, Tired Dad. I got very technical there. I was just a little tired. Not didn't feel like calculating anything. I could have probably won with something more interesting. But thanks for the game. That's a good old-fashioned squeeze. Yeah, that's something you don't have to always be in a hurry when you have a space advantage. Space advantage is not about time. So you don't necessarily have to hurry. You just need to keep control of the position. Okay, let's do this one again. So this is Kikers. Okay, Kikers. Mhm. He's played quickly and sensibly, I have to say. C4. Hmm. I'm not sure if that makes sense at this moment because it looks like I've got a lot of pressure on D4. In a lot of positions, that's logical, but not after line bishop G4, and I don't think. Um, maybe you can make it work, but doesn't look right to me. I think I want to take that anyway. Okay, so. Okay, let's see. He wants to get his rook to the middle. Not a bad idea. Hmm. Okay. Check. Got to take it. That's a check. Take my queen or I take you. All right. Took a surprising amount of time. Now on rook d3, I have knight e2 check. Sneaky. I don't think he wants that to happen. So this rook will have to go somewhere where that doesn't win a tempo. Like f2. Oh! Which rook do I take? That actually hangs both of them. Oh, rook f2 was definitely more indicated move. All right. Well, all right, let me go for that one. I feel a little bit greedy, you know. I'm probably not going to win a whole rook anyway, but maybe it'll win a little bit of time. Hmm. Yeah. Well, you know, can I go for it? Let's be a little bit greedy here. Let's see if I can if I can hold on to everything. Take a shot. Take a shot at being greedy. Oh, well, you could have just left the bishop there if you wanted to trade, but I don't think you can really afford to trade because you're down a rook. You need to try to win more material than that. Yeah. Looks like I've got another one. Woo woo. Mm-hmm. Extra rook for Mr. Hat. So yeah, c4 is a little bit too ambitious. I thought that his opening was pretty good until then. And then got a lot of pressure on d4. Maybe he could have gone d5 and saved the pawn, but I think I'm still getting a lot of play in the center. Knight c2. Okay, time to trade. I'm a merchant. Yeah, yeah. Let's just keep the knight out of the center. I think something will be coming back. A4. Interesting. Okay, I'll take it. That was a little bit of a surprise. Thank you, Kai Kurz. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but appreciate the challenge. But I have to say I'm getting a little tired. I think there might be some chances now. Shafkat from Canada. I do believe I've played him before, and he probably should get a Sicilian. Mm-hmm. Okay. He certainly played those moves very quickly. C3 is interesting because if you want to castle queenside, you don't want to play C3. Black tries to force that move. All right. Not that queen a5 is necessarily the best reaction, but I don't want to think too long about it, given that he hasn't castled yet. Trying to think, have I Oh, maybe I just transposed into a theoretical line. I thought I was going to be a tempo up. I can't tell. Hmm. Okay. Anyway, I've seen a lot of Caracans from my students, both white and black, so I feel almost like it's my opening, even though I don't really play it. Yeah, it's probably asking for it to castle queen side. When you get close to the end, it's probably not the right strategy. Okay, all right. Let me just castle. I don't know if I have any tricks, but I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, I almost think that I can take this pawn. Um, mm, I kind of wish I had my rooks the other way, though. Mm, I probably should not do it. All right, I'll just go back. It was possible because if rook b1 had knight c5, I don't think my queen was trapped, but there was something I didn't like about it so much, so I'll just go back. Now, c5, I think I can actually take it. Okay, here's my other idea. I think I've got this move. He stopped me from going one way, I go the other way. Yeah, that looks like a pawn for me. It's pretty hard to stop tonight because I've got the power of Jaromir Jagr, and underneath I've got the impenetrable defense of Henrik Lundqvist. So it's an unbeatable combination. Yeah, okay. I don't have any current jerseys for any current Rangers. Uh, okay. Grab. I think that's safe. Yes. Okay. So I want to pawn cleanly, and I think it's going to maybe be two. Well, maybe not. Let's see what Shafkat has up his sleeve. Yeah. Good move. Way to put this rook now. Hmm. That's a nice resource. I don't really want to mess up my pawns. I think I really should just go back all the way. So he saved a pawn there. Uh-huh. And paradoxically, I'm going to go in now because last move he had knight c5. So yeah. Okay. b6. Let's see what this is all about. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This knight is a little short of squares. Oh, yeah. I was thinking rook e1, but I could protect my knight, so I guess he needs something kind of clever. Well, lots of things hanging now. Ah, if I just move that knight, then he's got two hangers. All right, I'll move it. I'll move it in here. Yeah, he's got two hangers, so one of them has to fall. Oh, I should have moved to D7 because he could have played Rook F3, but all right. That's a piece for me, and it should be good enough. Okay. Thing is, you can't take a king in this game on ICC, so this sneaky check, it doesn't have the same impact. All right, well, he's got a runner there. That's good. That's good. All right, let's make some counterplay of some sort. All right, let me block this guy. Make him work to get that forward. F5. Maybe that knight e4 was fancier than I needed to be, but I think it's good enough. Okay, push that too, I guess. Now the forward knight is defended, and okay, I'll take that. I don't know if he saw that or not, but it doesn't matter. I'll just do it. And yeah, okay, thanks, Shavkat. Yeah, that 95 turned the game in my favor, and there may not be that many chances to beat me. Ah, this is sort of like bulletproof except with an X instead of a U. Bulletproofal CC, which is kind of unusual handle, but he's not at home right now. You got to be ready for when your number comes up. I don't need time odds. It's tough enough for you guys. All right. Hmm. Hmm. Well, game aborted. Okay. Guess he changed his mind after all. All right. So this is Lord Kinboat. Uh, I guess that's some kind of reference that I don't get, but fair enough. I have just been informed that this will be the last game. It's your last chance to get me. And I'm going to go old school with A3 because when I was a teenager, A3 was the move. And the man, I was not going to play B4. That was not necessary, Lloyd Kinboat. The man was Gary Kasparov, and he was playing A3 and killing everybody. And I would write down these games in my notebooks. Remember, there was no databases back then. Nobody even had a computer. So I would write these games out by hand from the informant and keep them in notebooks, and just fantastic games. And very popular. A3 is very popular, but this hasn't really been very theoretical. I think, sometimes there's no substitute for knowing a little theory because it's kind of hard in a position where you can't move too much to make a good fight. But let's see what the Lord comes up with for this. Castles. This is where some people might play h4 with a sense of humor to get an e5 and a bishop sacrifice, but okay, I'll just castle. Good enough for me. Ooh. C6. Seems like a little bit too much of a hippopotamus approach. Okay, let's go. Let's go get him. One problem for black is that he's going to want to open up his bishop with c5, but as soon as he does it, he kills that c5 square for his pieces, knight and bishop. So, yeah, that's the problem with the cramped position. Is you get a cramped position, and you don't have use of all the squares for your pieces, whereas I have lots of freedom here. So I'm feeling good. Maybe I should have played queen c2 just to provoke something. If h6, then queen e2 could be stronger. Knight c5, but now the bishop can't open up, and the knight, I could play a4 if he wants, if he really wants to keep it there, but I think something's going to happen on the king's side. Wow, f6, okay. Going for a kind of counterplay. What to do about that? All right, I'll just take it. Let's see how he's going to recapture, actually. That way? Yeah, okay, that probably made the most sense. There just seem like there's a lot of weaknesses here. E6, H7, a lot of vulnerable points. Going to be hard to defend. I'm sensing that clean sweep. I can feel it. I can taste it. Possibly another Dulugi-esque performance. Knight d7. That's a clever move. Yeah. Because if I take the knight, he takes back. But let me wheel in here. And surely something's got to fall now. Something's got to give. E6, H7. One way or the other. I'm getting something. I wonder how many games I won today. Did I win more than last time? And does the aborted game count? No, I guess not. that would be fair. Knight f6, defend h7. Okay, I think he's actually doing about the best he can with this. Yeah, so I don't like 96 so much. I think actually instead of taking the pawn, I'm just going to pile up hit the defender, and well, take it next move. And e6 cannot be defended, so I think everything will fall in a more heinous fashion for black. Well, it's been fun once again today, and it did seem like there are a lot of people came out to play. I suppose some people didn't get a chance. I don't know what the percentage of players at the challenge and get to play is, but it's nice to see a real good response. Everybody coming out to play little old me. Okay, so now I got some material and the technical phase begins. C5, opening up the bishop. Okay. Now, of course, I'm perfectly happy to make any and all trades at this point. Where is it going with that knight? I don't think that's defended. I count 3 attackers, 1 defender. Okay. I think I can take that one too. I think we did it, Yaramir. All right. Thank you, Lord Kinbote, and thanks everybody who came out to play today, tonight, this morning, depending on where you are in the world. You're very welcome, all of you. It was fun, and I guess after the first couple of times, the old competitiveness comes out. I used to be a serious Blitz player when I was younger, and I guess, I wanted to win the game. So now I'm really kind of trying to challenge to see if I can win all of them. But I love to have some of the games, the tough games, where you guys come at me and make it difficult. And didn't quite have any nail biters today, but there are some interesting games. And once again, I appreciate everybody coming out to play. Also, buy my book, Liquidation on the Chessboard, Mastering the Transition to the Pawn End Game, available Amazon, Barnes & Noble, your chess dealers. It's a great endgame book. I'm very proud of it. And if you happen to buy it and you like it, please post a review on Amazon.com, because that will, help me spread the word of that it's a cool book. So, but anyway, thanks for coming to play, and I look forward to seeing you guys all next month. Take care, everybody.